welcome back everybody. This is going to be part 2 of what was originally called the 68 Chevy station wagon build, which turned out to be a 73 engine. And obviously this is a bit of a spoiler alert here, but we're going to go back, and I've got a bunch of the footage that I put into the second half of it, where we start looking at the engine block, the cylinder heads, some of the components and the parts, the piston and rod assemblies, which we're going to go with a flat top. This is not the pistons that we bought for this, obviously they're in it, but it's the same exact set of pistons with a flat top. It's for a different engine, but it's the same part number piston with the same molly rings and everything. So, and we ended up going with we talked about the camshaft and some of the other things that we did with this. So let's start running through this. We will continue where we left off after we got the engine disassembled. And now we're going to go in and start looking at some of the components and the kind of shape that they're in, and kind of get an idea of what direction we're going to go with this build. So I hope you enjoy this. Here we go. Alright, so we did some more cleanup on the block. Haven't really done anything to the cylinders yet, other than I took a razor blade and scraped the carbon off of the top. But we did run it through the washer. We've removed all the oil galleries. We've removed the cam bearings. And one of the reasons you need to remove the cam bearings is because there's an oil groove behind it that can get sludge in it. We removed all the plugs, the core plugs, and ran it through the tank some more to clean it up better. What I've discovered about these cylinders is I did mic the cylinders and cleaned off one of the pistons, and we discovered that the bore is 30 over. So this engine, the pistons did look stock in there, but they are definitely 30 over pistons. And one of the really great things that we discovered about this block, I've got a dial bore gauge here that's set for 4 inches. So what we discovered is we put the bore gauge in here, and usually the cylinders will wear more at the top because that's where all the pressure is. But if we go in here and we run it down to the bottom of the ring travel here, we've got, and we look at our dial bore gauge, it's right on 30 thousandths over. So a lot of times it'll get bigger toward the top if it tapers. But if I run this up to the top of the bore, just below that ring ridge, what I discover is that it is exactly 30 thousandths over. Same, I don't have any taper. And when I check the out around this way, I get 30 all the way around. Probably can't see that there, but it is on 30. So these bores, I checked them all, are really straight. That was really a pleasant surprise. So I think we're going to be able to just hone this block. We won't have to bore it oversized anymore. It's already 30 over. So this engine was done not too long ago, and that kind of goes along with the fact that it is really clean. I've seen them a lot dirtier than this one when we took them apart. So, and it did have a lot of oil leaks, so because it sat for a long time, and there was kind of some residual oil and sludge on the outside of the block, mainly because of all the oil leaks. But inside, man, this thing is clean. This is going to be a good builder. Okay, so here's where we are. We cleaned all the rods up, and I've just got one here as an example. Another thing that we did is, even though the rod bores were good on these, we actually went ahead and put these on our rod hone and honed this bore out. But before we did that, we put the cap in a cap grinder, and we grind the cap square, and we honed this bore because we wanted a perfectly true connecting rod bore here. And now, this is set for our spec here, and we are right on 0 all the way around. No matter how we check this, we've got a perfectly round bore here. So 0 is our spec, and there we are. We're right on it. No matter how I put this now, it's completely round. So we are very happy with the way that the rods turned out, and of course we cleaned them up. I've got the other 7 over in the tank with the cutting oil all over them. I still have to clean them. I just cleaned this one for demo purposes. Now, this is one of the pistons that we pressed off. These pistons are measuring just like a brand new piston here. You can see that we cleaned them up. We still have a little bit of carbon on top, but that's not a big issue. We are actually not going to use these pistons in this build, even though they're good, but we're going to save them. I thought it was a factory piston, but it's not. I'm not sure who made this piston, but it's an aftermarket deal, and the pins feel really good in them. We'll polish the pins up a little more, but we're going to go ahead and save these. But because of this dish here, it's got the 4-valve release, of course, but this is a 14.5 cc dish. This makes the compression of this engine really low, just a little bit above 7.5 to 1 compression. So we're going to go in with a flat top piston because we want to bump up the compression some and make sure we get a better performing engine. The crankshaft, we did mic the crankshaft, and we checked these journals, the mains and the rods for size and for out around and taper and so forth. The crank has a real good grind on it. It's 10 thousandths under, so on the mains and on the rods, but there's no wear to speak of as far as our precision mic or measuring tool we put on here. They're round and they don't have any taper or anything, so we're going to go ahead and just polish the crank up and reuse it on this build. Now the other thing is that I talked earlier about the block. Another thing we did in addition to checking the cylinders here is we torqued up all of our main caps, and we went ahead and took our dial bore gauge that fits that and put it in there, and we measured the size of our main bore, and we did, you know, a couple different places to make sure it wasn't out of round or tapered, and the main bores are perfectly round and they have a really good size on them. So we didn't have to really do anything with the main bore. I got this on there for demo purposes so you guys can see it, but we torqued them all on and checked every single bore. And we also checked the alignment on the bore. The way that we check the alignment, we take a precision machine straight edge and we're just going to lay it across that bore like so. And then we take our smallest feeler gauge, which is 1.5 thousandths, and we made sure that that doesn't slide under any point here. And what that's doing is making sure that these bores are perfectly aligned. We took a 0.0015, 1.5 thousandths feeler gauge, and it would not slide under any of these locations, which tells us that our alignment is near perfect on this block. So that's what we're looking for. So we've got a good builder here. We just need to hone the cylinders, power hone these cylinders, and then finish washing the block and final wash it. And this thing will be ready to assemble. Of course, we're going to have to put cam bearings and plugs and so forth in it. That's kind of par for the course. But the major components, the connecting rod, the block itself, the crankshaft, is all in really good shape. We're obviously going to buy new pistons and rings, and of course the rod and main bearings, the 1000 rod and main bearings, we're going to replace those. We're also going to buy a timing chain, in a full set of gaskets, new oil pump and pickup tube, oil pump drive. So basically just a reassembly kit, but the major components, like I said, are good on this. So now that we've got everything checked out, we're going to finish cleaning, just final super cleaning all of this stuff. Now, unfortunately, I did look at the cylinder heads off camera and they need a lot of help. So we have a couple other sets of heads that we already have done, early style heads that are the same era that we're probably going to use on this. We'll see. I got to Magnaflux the head and check them for cracks yet, but they do have bad valve guides and some of the seats are sunk. So the heads are probably the worst part about this entire thing, unfortunately. So, but you know, we can always get heads. Who knows? Maybe we'll even put some aluminum heads or something on this thing. We don't know. And obviously the camshaft's in good shape, but we're clearly not going to reuse the cam. I'm pretty sure on this deal we're going to go with a roller cam with the tie bar set. This is an early block, so it's going to need a timing cover with a thrust button, and it's going to need the tie bar roller lifters. If I can find a decent deal on a camshaft, which I think I can, and I might even have one down at my other shop laying around. I have to look and see. I have a bunch of stuff stashed, so if I can find a decent roller cam, we don't want to put anything crazy radical in this because it is going to be just a mild street engine. So I'm kind of looking for like a pretty mild roller camshaft, but I just don't, I've got a problem with the flat tappet stuff. We've had lots and lots of flat tappet failures, and I know in the comments what I'm going to get is, well, you know, you need to use high zinc oil, and you need to do the break-in process right, and all of that stuff. Listen, I've been doing this for almost 40 years, and I know how to break in a flat tappet cam. I've broken in thousands of them. The problem that we're having these days is not just that they need high zinc oil and the correct break-in. They do need that stuff. The problem is the quality of the cams and lifters has just gone downhill so bad that it's a problem. I have put flat tappet cams in, done the break-in procedure correctly, 2,000 RPMs for 20 minutes, high zinc Joe Gibbs oil or Comp Cams oil or any of the specialty oils that are designed for breaking in flat tappets with the right amount, the right parts per million of zinc, copper, and phosphorus, or what we call ZDDP, and I've had them go flat on the run stand in less than 10 minutes. They just start clattering and it just wipes out a cam and takes out the whole motor. That's happened to me 3 times in the last 4 or 5 years. I'm done. I'm done with flat tappets. The problem is, guys, is that the quality of the lifters is not there. It's just not. These manufacturers that are machining these lifters, and I've gotten them from every manufacturer. I will say this, the only manufacturer that I've not had a failure from is Howard's Cams. I've had multiple, I won't say their name, but their initials are CC. I've had multiple cams from them right out of the box, brand new, with all the procedures done right, go flat. So I'm done. So if I'm going to do anything, I do a lot of the Vortec blocks. When I'm looking for cores, I try to get the Vortec blocks with the factory roller cams in them, because buying the aftermarket cam that's designed for the roller block is a lot cheaper. The roller cam for the early with 350 or small block with the retrofit kit is a little on the pricey side, but it's not as pricey as wiping a whole motor out because a flat tappet lifter went south on you. That is more expensive than buying a roller cam. So my advice to you, if you're going to build one of these, don't go with a flat tappet cam. Just forget about that nonsense. It's archaic. It's an old design. The rollers are way better anyway. They give you more power. They last longer. It's just kind of a no-brainer to go with a roller. So that's where we're at on it. So I'm going to finish getting this stuff ready to go, and I'm going to order some parts. And then hopefully in a week or so, we'll have all this stuff laid out in an orderly fashion, and we'll walk you through the new parts and what we did to some of these components to get them ready to put together. And yeah, it'll be cool. This will be a cool build. I'm very happy with the shape and the condition of this engine. It's a very, very good core. It's one of the better ones that you'll see. Most of the cores you get are just hashed. So especially the older stuff like this, they've been run through the ringer. But fortunately, somebody did a nice, decent rebuild on this, and the bores are straight. The main bore's good. We did Magnaflux the block. I ran my Magnafluxer over, no cracks. So we're looking really good on this build. All right, so that is the next thing, and I'm going to get after this, and I'll be back, and we'll start getting ready to assemble this small block Chevy.